Previously on this channel, we made a pair of apron loafers. But the line between what's an apron loafers and what is a moccasin or driver's shoes can be blurry. This is a pair of drivers, and somebody said it is quite different from an apron loafers and that I could not make it by simply using my mean form style. To be candid with you, the most intuitive way of creating patterns for a pair of drivers or moccasins is basically by taping up the last, as my egbon in the trade, SB Exclusive, is doing in this clip. This video is basically to show you that what a mean form cannot do does not exist. Welcome to Bomo Bespoke. If any difference can in fact be said to exist between them, a moccasin drivers will have its outsole or its outsole pattern embedded with the upper of the shoe, while of course your regular loafers will basically have a lasting allowance that you're folding underneath the insole or the insole pattern. So I see no reason why we can't flip around the sides of the apron loafers, connect them to that outsole pattern, or if you may, the insole pattern, and use that in construction of our moccasin drivers. So all you need to do is to place the ball point to the ball point of the insole pattern and then trace out both sides of the loafers, of course turning it on its head such that the feather edge will lie around the feather edge of your outsole. Once you've done all of that, you make sure to take note of the beginning point where your apron holes will start, and then for the apron holes, I basically drew right angles from each of those apron holes that we had, and then use those as references to trace along the part of the sides of these loafers that fold towards the center. So watch what I'm doing here. So each one corresponds to its corresponding line on the feather edge, and then you just draw in the line and just keep tracing all along as you move towards the center, basically like that. In fact, I found out that once you've gone past the middle, you can basically just turn the right side up, and the curve that it makes from the center will just be as well. But just for the sake of correctness and experimentation, we can basically try to do the same thing from the center. So that's the corresponding point on the feather edge right there. So I mark that in, and if I place it on here, I can trace. I can really keep rotating and then just trace how far the corresponding parts of the entire thing lie, and you find out that this whole thing is complete. Exactly the same thing that I did on the other flip side, and really it's not precise science. Really, you're still going to stitch by hand that thing, and then all of those errors and folds that you have around the apron of this drivers is what gives it its distinctive moccasin feel that the Native American moccasins are known for. So yeah, basically draw in that center line, draw in our ball line. Don't forget also that we indicated the beginning point of our stitching holes, and around that edge all you need to do is to ensure that you space your stitching holes on the main body of the moccasin equidistant from each other and corresponding to the number of holes that you have on the apron itself. For this back, you know, you can do exactly the same thing you did to find the length of the back there. I added just about, you know, 2 mm extra space just in case. This is basically a test shoe. I probably will build something much more permanent, but this is a proof of concept that really showed that it worked. So yeah, the point I was making earlier on is that you make sure that you have stitching holes that correspond with the number of stitching holes that you have on the apron. And then for that void that you typically find underneath on the insole itself, you can take 2 cm beneath the ball line, beneath the ball girt, and, you know, just basically cut out that void. So let me just go ahead and cut out that void and quickly show you how. Let's do a quick test and demonstration to see if this pattern works. So this part at the back here, you see that it's at right angle to the heel of this insole, and so that part folds upward like that, and then we can fold this that way and stitch it this way, and then this is what it was on the test. So let me mark in that void, and that's the void that is going to be cut out. And basically I did a test stitch. Before you start stitching, this is something that I have observed. Don't stitch the back seam too tightly before you start. There might be need for adjustments to factor for the stretch on your leather or any errors that you may have introduced in your patterns. So I just stitch around the middle of the back seam, just give it a tack around the middle there, and then you can remove. After you have stitched on your apron and tested, you'll be able to know whether you have need for any adjustments or whether everything is just as well. In my own case, I had very minuscule need for adjustments, showing again that the pattern turned out accurately as I had anticipated it. So at this point, stitching on the apron, I'm not going to bore you with all of the entire process of stitching on this apron. You guys already know the drill, you know how it goes. I'm basically using a lock stitch with a hook awl to do the stitching. And once I was done with the stitching, it was obvious that everything turned out well. All you now need to do is to install your last into the shoe like it is a sock. And ladies and gentlemen, moment of truth, I'm happy to announce to you that it turned out excellently. It fit like a glove, right? You can see that top line there is straight. There are no fumbles around that area, and you can basically stitch on this part. Of course, if this was a full shoe, you would want to put that top flap around the top line just to give it some structure and some rigidity, but you can see that this worked out well. So that's the point I was making. If you wanted to tighten up the back seam just to even make that top line much more tighter, you can do all of that, and even you can make some adjustments on the knits by stitching that void together. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a proof of concept that shows that yes, using my method of drafting patterns, I can basically use my mean forms in creating the patterns for these drivers. See you on the next video, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you.